Heading into the offseason, there are two big names with two big question marks lingering over their heads: Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. The two prolific quarterbacks weren't exactly the happiest with their teams last season, and after the lack of results from their respective teams, it's very likely we'll see them ship out to somewhere else. Trade for Rodgers. Denver Broncos. Rodgers has been linked to Denver since last year's draft, when reports stated that he would entertain a trade to the Broncos, San Francisco 49ers, or Las Vegas Raiders. Well, the 49ers are now Trey Lance's team. The Raiders haven't given any indicators that they want to move on from Derek Carr. So, that leaves Denver as the most likely and logical landing spot. Did we mention the Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett as their new head coach? Hackett was Green Bay's offensive coordinator from 2019 to 2021, helping the Pack to 3 straight 13-win seasons and a pair of NFC Championship game appearances. If Rodgers wants to move on from Green Bay, Denver should be atop his wish list. This team has a top 5 defense, and they're loaded with weapons, including Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, and Noah Fant. What isn't there to like? John Elway won the Peyton Manning sweepstakes in 2012. Together, those two NFL legends could entice Rodgers to join the Mile High City with a very strong pitch. Denver has most of the pieces in place to win now. All they're missing is a capable starting quarterback. Adding Rodgers would instantly make them Super Bowl contenders for at least a few years. Trade for Wilson. New Orleans Saints. Sean Payton stepped away from coaching 1 year after Drew Brees announced his retirement. But that doesn't mean that these Saints are about to blow it up and undergo a full-scale rebuild. Dennis Allen has too many big-time playmakers on both sides of the ball to hit the reset button at this point. Not to mention, Tom Brady's retirement instantly bolsters the Saints' chances of winning the NFC South. They won 9 games last season despite using 4 different starting QBs, and not having Michael Thomas the entire year. Like the Broncos, New Orleans just needs a solid starting QB to re-emerge as contenders. They have a world-class defense, a top-tier offensive line, something Wilson has never enjoyed in Seattle, by the way, and 2 elite playmakers in Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. Going from the gauntlet that is the NFC West to the NFC South would really give Wilson his best opportunity to add a second Lombardi trophy to his mantle. New Orleans would have to perform a ton of cap gymnastics for the trade to work, but it would be worth it. Adding Wilson keeps New Orleans' competitive window open, and he's still fairly young for an NFL QB at 33. They have every incentive to deal for the future Hall of Famer while he's in his prime and available. Trade for Rodgers. Pittsburgh Steelers. From one Hall of Fame Super Bowl champion to another? Hey, why not? Like the Saints, Pittsburgh would have to clear a ton of cap room to complete a blockbuster trade. But this front office always finds a way. Once again, Pittsburgh's defense masked the constant offensive shortcomings and did just enough to take Mike Tomlin's group into the playoffs. Ben Roethlisberger was totally washed up and had very little left in him. It's simply amazing that Pittsburgh won as many games as they did. Now, just imagine how far they could really go with a QB like Rodgers. Number 12 may feel inclined to join another historic franchise to further enhance his legacy. A-Rod wouldn't be lacking in playmakers either. And you can forget about Rodgers' defense letting him down in the playoffs again. Green Bay should feel extra motivated to deal Rodgers to an AFC team. And few clubs check off as many boxes as the Steelers. Rodgers would be the perfect fit in the Steel City. Trade for Wilson. Washington Commanders. Oh look, another team that you could say is one QB upgrade away from reaching Super Bowl contention. Honestly, it's a miracle that Ron Rivera has won 14 games and an NFC East Division title in 2 seasons without a legit starting caliber quarterback. Washington boasts a scary good defense led by Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and Jonathan Allen. Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and Logan Thomas lead a solid group of skill position guys on offense. The NFC East is arguably football's worst division. Washington could easily overtake the Dallas Cowboys as the top team there with a QB like Wilson leading the way. Rivera enjoyed success with a dual-threat sensation like Cam Newton, so we have little doubt he'd make it work with another mobile QB like Russ. Trade for Rodgers. Las Vegas Raiders. Nobody should complain if the Raiders decide to keep Derek Carr, who led the franchise to his first playoff berth in 5 seasons. With new head coach Josh McDaniels calling the shots, this Vegas offense has limitless potential. But what if McDaniels and Mark Davis decide they really want to go big? Again, Rodgers reportedly had the Raiders on his short list of preferred destinations, and if Davis was willing to hand John Gruden $100 million to replace a quality head coach in Jack Del Rio, he should entertain the idea of replacing Carr with a man whom many regard as a top 5 QB of all time. Rodgers would certainly be enthralled with the Vegas market and that shiny new Death Star Stadium. Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and Josh Jacobs round out a solid group of weapons. The Raiders should at least explore the price for acquiring Rodgers. And if they can afford it, Vegas ought to roll the dice on number 12. Trade for Wilson. Indianapolis Colts. The Colts mortgaged a big part of their future for Carson Wentz, who was average but nothing great in his reunion with Frank Reich. Sure, Wentz's 2021 stat line looked great, 62.4 completion percentage, 3,563 yards, 27 touchdowns, and only 7 picks. But Jonathan Taylor mostly carried that offense, and Wentz still committed far too many mind-numbing mistakes in crucial situations. The Colts would be wise to cut their losses, accept that Wentz isn't the answer, and try to get Wilson instead. GM Chris Ballard has never shied away from a blockbuster trade. And with plenty of young cornerstone pieces on this roster, Ballard could totally entice Seattle with a strong offer. Maybe Ballard willingly deals one of his star offensive linemen, Braden Smith or Ryan Kelly for instance. Could he throw in Zach Pascal and a young defensive player like Julian Blackmon or Kwity Paye as well? Heck, a Wilson trade to Indy could see Wentz go the other way to Seattle too. At the very worst, Seattle could just use Wentz as a bridge to their next QB. Trade for Rodgers. Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill's epic career resurgence in the 2019 season led Tennessee to an unexpected trip to the AFC Championship game. Proving that it was no fluke, Tannehill helped Tennessee to consecutive AFC South Division crowns in 2020 and 2021. But the Titans have won a grand total of 0 playoff games over that span, with Tannehill throwing costly interceptions and both heartbreaking losses. GM John Robinson and head coach Mike Vrabel ought to reconsider all possible avenues this offseason. Their offense will be fine with Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown leading the way, but Tannehill's limitations are quite evident now. The Titans are built to win now in a fairly weak AFC South. They have proven their ability to hang in there with the AFC top clubs like the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens. Making a play for a legend like Rodgers would make Tennessee the team to beat in the AFC. Trade for Wilson, Carolina Panthers. Head coach Matt Rule is entering a make-or-break season in Carolina. There's simply no way the Panthers will bring him back for a 4th season if 2022 goes as badly as the past 2 years. So for Rule, there should be some extra urgency to land a Pro Bowl quarterback this offseason. The Panthers have been linked to Deshaun Watson, and they reportedly made a play for Matthew Stafford before he was dealt to the Los Angeles Rams. Carolina would be better off going for Wilson than Rodgers, seeing that the former is 5 years younger and better suits the timetable for the Panthers' young roster. For as bad as they've been under Rule, there's a lot of young talent to like. So Carolina could theoretically offer 1 or 2 of those players plus draft picks to Seattle in a trade for Wilson. And maybe the Hawks are happy to take on Sam Darnold and give him another shot. The Panthers have so many up-and-coming stars in place. If they could just find some semi-decent quarterback play, they'd contend for the NFC South. Trade for Rodgers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With Tom Brady now retired, the Super Bowl 55 champions suddenly find themselves in quite a bind. They still feature plenty of game wreckers on both sides of the ball, but the Bucs can't possibly think that Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask are the answer at quarterback, right? It remains to be seen if Tampa will bring back key free agents like Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, Ryan Jensen, and Alex Kappa. But acquiring a superstar like Rodgers could only enhance Tampa's chances of keeping the core together. The main question here is if Green Bay would be willing to deal Rodgers inside the NFC. Good thing the Bucs aren't in their division, so that kinda helps. Rodgers would probably love the idea of joining a Tampa offense with a player's coach in Bruce Arians, one of the game's great offensive masterminds. And you saw just how much control the Bucs gave Brady when it came to personnel decision-making. Surely they would do the same for Rodgers, who's wanted that for a long time now and was not shy about sharing his disappointment when Green Bay wouldn't give it to him. Adding Rodgers would keep Tampa's short-term Super Bowl window open. They may as well trade whatever draft picks Green Bay would want and a valuable starter or 2. Well, maybe 3, to get A-Rod. Trade for Wilson. Chicago Bears. You'll recall that the Bears were reportedly on the list of teams that Wilson would have accepted a trade to last year. Yes, the Bears traded up to snag Justin Fields last offseason, mortgaging a big part of their future to do so. But Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles weren't here when Chicago made that move for the former Ohio State QB. Even if it's their first year together, there's already pressure mounting on Eberflus and Poles. This once proud organization has been a laughingstock for the better half of the last decade, and it largely stems from incompetent quarterback play. Thing is, the Bears have a very good defense and several quality weapons in David Montgomery, Cole Kmet, and Darnell Mooney. Wilson would totally be able to make it work with these guys. Chicago can wait patiently and hope for Fields to develop into a franchise QB, or they could trade for one of the game's most prolific quarterbacks of his era and know exactly what they're getting right away. Why should Eberflus and Poles wait around? Make your mark by making a trade for Russ already! But where do you think Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson will play in 2022? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.